K-Cup, episode 28. Glad y'all came back for another episode. We have a special show this week. We're going to get to have another team member spotlight. This week, we're going to interview our team member and project manager, Pablo Lanier. Pablo, thanks for sitting in with us this week.
Yeah, Pablo, good to have you, man. Glad you jumped on the show with us. Can't wait to hear what all you have to say today.
Yeah, it's been good. I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, good to have you, man. We look forward to getting some insight directly from the source, so to speak. And we want to know, and we're going to get into this, what it means to be a project manager to you, but even more importantly, what it means for you to be a project manager here at Kelly Construction Group. So we're going to dive into that here in a minute. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself, whatever you're comfortable with now. And, you don't have to share anything you don't want to share, but give us some Pablo vibes. Give us some Pablo vibes.
Who are you?
Who are you, Pablo?
Wow, that's a great question.
Because you didn't come back on the background search. There was no results. So tell us who you are.
That's not true.
Yeah, no, I'm from the greater Baton Rouge area, born and raised here, and been working in construction for most of my career. I knew pretty early on as well that was the field I was going to be working in as well. So I've been able to meet a lot of really good people in this industry over the course of time, and it's been really good so far.
Awesome. So how is it that you landed here at Kelly Construction Group?
Well, it seemed to be a good amount of good timing and fate, really. At that period of time, I was looking for another position, and over the years, I saw a lot of Kelly posters on different projects throughout the area. So the name was familiar to me.
Cool.
And was looking around, and there was a position here. So I went ahead and applied, and it was fairly arduous, but it was definitely worth it. I'm really happy so far. So.
Cool. All right. You said it was arduous to apply, really?
Yeah.
Did you get involved in one of those famous group interviews that John likes to put on?
I did. Yeah, they're pretty intense, but it's a very interesting situation to be in too. So,
yeah. Well, they say the cream rises to the top, and here you are. So.
Yeah, obviously you've done well, right?
That's right.
We'll say Pablo represented himself very well in those interviews.
Yeah.
So good job, Pablo.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, must have made an impression. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive in, Pablo. So tell us what it is, or walk us through, a typical day here as project manager at KCG.
Sure. So one of the key tenets that we have here is communication. So that's usually what I spend my morning on almost every day, is following up with phone calls or texts I might have missed late yesterday afternoon. My inbox, making sure that anyone that is expecting an answer from me will get it promptly. Sure. So that's usually what I spend my mornings with. If I need to make a project site visit, I'll make sure that happens too. If the opportunity arises, I like to try to get lunch with the superintendent. It's a really good opportunity to catch up with them too. Then afternoons, just completing whatever open tasks we have at the time, or sending responsibilities to people that need to know about them.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty typical day for me.
Cool. So it just sounds like a lot of outbound and inbound communication going on there.
Obviously communication is something we continuously talk about on this show, so
that's right.
Good to hear that that's a point of emphasis for Pablo.
Yeah.
I know that's something that we push for everybody to take the first hour or so of the day and really make sure you're following up with everybody and staying in tune with with all the right people. So
absolutely.
Good job, Pablo.
Thank you.
So what drew you to want to be a project manager in the construction industry?
The idea of being the person responsible for making a project come to fruition from start to finish was very appealing to me. I wanted to understand the business very intimately, just what needs to happen from start to finish to make a project come true. And I wanted to be involved in that. I didn't want to assume how things worked. I wanted to do it myself so that I knew. So I just threw myself right into the mix.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you're one of those people that needs to get to the bottom of things and figure out, where the bottom of that rabbit hole is, so you know how it works, big picture stuff. So how would you say your role has evolved over time? I imagine that you've grown and things have changed since you first, got into this role. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think the biggest change over the course of time has been my confidence in the position. That's one of the things that I really appreciate about working here is the accessibility to senior leadership. I mean, I could go with them to them with any kind of questions I have and get the direction that I need. And over time, build that foundation that makes me the person I am today. You know, it's like fletchings on an arrow.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I definitely have seen tremendous growth in Pablo, you know, specifically when it comes to confidence. I know, you know, when you first came on board, you were a little bit hesitant. You kind of kept yourself a little bit quiet.
Yeah.
Now you're very, you know, you're very bought in. You're very in tune with all of us, and you make it. You know, you lead your projects. So definitely seen a lot of confidence growth.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely growth, and I think that's something that all of us, you know, that have been here for any amount of time have experienced personal growth. And that's one of the great things about the Kelly Construction Group culture is that you're actually allowed time to breathe enough to be able to grow your skill set. And it takes time, and you know, sometimes leadership understands that, sometimes they don't. But John, you definitely do, and you allow people the opportunity to get things worked out kind of on their own terms. As long as they end up at the same destination, you're not really too concerned how they get there, as long as it's positive. So that's pretty cool. So since you've been here and the projects that you've worked on, what project stands out in your mind as a project that was, you know, really satisfying once it was complete?
One that comes to mind immediately is the Hammond Pavilion. That was a project that you would think would be fairly simple, just because it is a pavilion.
Yeah.
You would think there's not much involved.
Yeah.
But this one kind of stands out with the structural elements that it had, and the fact that it was by a very busy road downtown. Is very visible too. So there's a lot of challenges involved with that.
Yeah.
But it was a very satisfying project to work on, and it's done. And the owner's very satisfied with it too.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that really turned out beautiful. I got to see that project after completion too, and there was definitely like some artistic elements to the design of it. Like the trusses that were designed were, you know, obviously very aesthetically pleasing to look at. And I also noticed that I guess it was a local artist or something, got to, you know, do some kind of bronze entrance archways there, you know, with some look like grape leaves or something. It was really beautiful. But yeah, it was a very nice looking project once it got done. But I know you had some challenges on that one for sure.
Yeah, that project had a lot of opportunity for growth. Also, there was a few challenging situations, but I think that Pablo was able to learn some things on that project that he'll be able to put in his tool bag and use for years to come.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about, you know, managing the project. And one of those things that you have to manage, and they happen, you know, concurrently or side by side or simultaneously, however you want to say it, is managing the work being done in the field and the crews that are in the field and the owner's expectations at the same time. Sometimes those things don't line up, and it requires obviously somebody that really has their finger on the pulse of the project to be able to, you know, inform, I guess, the project owner exactly how things are, you know, proceeding and where you're at, and you know, and with the schedule and everything. So tell us a little bit about how what your approach is to doing that, managing owner expectations along with managing what's going on in the field.
Yeah, well, it's pretty simple, really. It goes back to communication, and more importantly, honesty is what I'm finding here. The thing that gets missed a lot of time is key information, and there's no way you're going to get that unless you find out about it, right? So communication is number one thing for me, making sure that I'm accessible to the field team, knowing that, make sure that they know that if they have any kind of issues or concerns, that I'm accessible. Same thing to the owner.
Yeah.
And being the go-between between those two is very important, but it all starts with that communication factor.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how do you keep a project on track then when things just aren't going as planned? And like we talked about like the Hammond Pavilion, we know that there were some challenges there where things didn't necessarily go as planned. And so how do you keep things going in a positive direction when it happens?
Yeah, first thing I like to do is gather any of the pertinent information needed on the issue at hand. Gathering the individuals, engineers, architects, whoever it needs to be to solve the situation and do it promptly too, and make sure that things don't drag on. That's number one for me, for sure.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's it. So, in your experience, then, what separates a good project manager from a great project manager?
Hey, let me jump into that last point.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Pablo talked about honest communication.
Yeah.
And I think we're able to solve some problems on that job really just by that. I mean, we had a few meetings here at the office with some subcontractors and different people where we were very, very honest and straightforward on what was happening. And I think that, that helped the problem. That became more apparent what the problem was and what the solution was going to be.
Yeah.
And we were able to work through that with some of these subcontractors. But just as important, you're able to have those same honest conversations with the architect. The project's not moving like we wanted it to move, and here's why. Rather than trying to sugarcoat it, rather than trying to blame it on some supplier, or rather than blame it on, weather or whatever it was.
Yeah.
We had some real honest conversations about where the problems were occurring. And to Pablo's point, the owner is extremely happy. The job turned out as a success. And I think a huge part of it was because of that honest conversation, that honest communication. So I just wanted to point that out. I heard that as Pablo was, finalizing his answer there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point because it really harkens back to like the last 2 episodes we did where we were talking about difficult client conversations. Yeah. And like you said, you used the word honest with the word communication. How dare you, by the way? Honest communication. In today's world, that's a rare commodity. But no, that's exactly what needed to take place, was just having that difficult conversation. And you can see how it would be very easy to do everything you could to avoid that conversation because they're not easy. But it's what opens the door to the solution. Right. It keeps, and like you said, we had some serious challenges on that project, but like you said, the owner loves the end result. He's thoroughly happy. Yeah. And, everyone involved, all the stakeholders.
Even the architect, was, really giving us some good praise, I guess, towards the end of the project. Yeah. And it was really a project that honestly could have got off the rails a little bit. Yeah. And we were able to kind of hold that together and testament to Pablo and our superintendent and all those guys to really, making the project a success.
Yeah, I mean, that is what you call effective project management. So that's from that standpoint, like you said, it took what could have been a terrible situation and turned it into really a great success and something that we can be proud of. And like you said, it's a great project for the community as well. So pretty awesome.
Do you have a construction project, but you just don't know where to begin? Let us show you the steps that are necessary to make your project a reality. I'm John Kelly with Kelly Construction Group, and I wanted to jump in here for just a second and let you guys know that here at Kelly Construction, we're more than just a builder. We're your one-stop solution. We want to help you with planning, design, permitting, and construction. If this sounds like a solution you need, reach out to us today. We've left the links in the show notes. Set up a call. Now, let's get back to today's show.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about culture and leadership, because I think we kind of touched on things that are key to culture, to a good culture, namely communication and honest communication and the willingness to have difficult conversations. But how do you keep the morale up? Every project has, it hits what I call critical mass. It seems like, when you're just in the thick of it, and at that point, it really only takes one little monkey wrench to show up to really build pressure for a minute at least. How do you keep morale up when the pressure's on and expectations are high and you're doing everything you can to meet those and you're not sure you're going to in the moment? How do you keep the morale up?
Yeah, that's pretty simple too. It's just the understanding that every problem really does have a solution. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fix by any means, but there is a solution to every problem. And one thing I like to do with individuals, especially like there's a fresh problem on site, people might start to spiral.
Yeah.
They'll just start to get emotional and just, you don't think clearly when that happens.
That's right.
So what I like to do is I like to call it zooming out, which is just pulling back, gathering all the information that you need, and understanding that there is a start to finish to everything, and there is a solution.
Yes.
And you'll find it in there somewhere.
That's right.
But you got to look for it like that too. So that's usually what I try to do.
Cool.
Yeah, I think projects, tend to, these type of issues tend to be more overwhelming or bigger as the project gets close to being finished.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to step back and just remind everybody where we're at in the process, where this project's almost finished.
Yeah.
I know we've done that quite a bit
Yeah.
on the project we've been talking about. So that goes a long way for sure.
Yeah. And project fatigue is a legitimate thing that happens. It's a phenomenon that happens, and that's, like you said, I think the pulling back thing, that's kind of my approach to things too, is generally speaking, is get that big picture, just take a step back, try to focus on the big picture, what's really important, and then proceed from there. Find a point of beginning at that point and just go forward. So that's great.
Yeah.
So if you had to give advice to someone that was thinking about getting into this industry and taking on the position that you're carrying now as a project manager, if you had to give them a piece of advice, what would it be?
I think simply put, it would just be humility and being willing to put your ego to the side. Just because you are in a leadership position on a project doesn't mean you know everything, and you certainly won't. And you're always in a learning process, regardless of the experience that you do have.
Yeah.
So doing that, I think, can help distinguish you from other individuals. I see a lot of people get emotional about their lack of knowledge and they take it personally.
Yeah.
Just try not to do that, and just understand that everyone has their own learning process.
Yeah.
And being willing to admit that opens you up to a lot more opportunities to learn too.
Yeah, that's a great take on that. I know I say this in probably every other podcast, my old cowboy saying about frustration sets in where knowledge ends, but basically it's what you're saying. You've never heard that one? I need to get that on a plaque, man. But it's true.
I know that, Pablo, I remember when you came in, you definitely came in with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And, we've already alluded to quite a bit of growth here. I think some of that was, maybe the confidence wasn't quite where you wanted or where you are now, and understandably so. And also I think that you'd worked in other cultures that, maybe people were not so willing to lend a hand or work together or whatever. But we've definitely seen a ton of growth. And I think that would be, some advice that somebody could take from kind of your story is, don't go into a situation, concerned that it's going to be a bad situation, or not even, maybe bad situation is not the right word, but there are people that are willing to help. There are companies and team members that are really ready to embrace you and help you. And I think that you felt that once you started here, and I think you resisted that just a little bit, if I'm being honest, in the beginning.
I'll take it.
But I think that once you realize, man, this is real and this is sincere, I think that you jumped in, and I don't want to say you're a different person because you're not a different person, but you've grown tremendously.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's something that I just wanted to mention there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, culture's everything, and I've been in cultures where you felt like your workmates were actually combatants in a day-to-day grind, and you didn't work together, and it was just terrible. But and you put up walls, and you get defensive, and then you go into a culture like this, and you may be waiting for that shoe to drop, and of course in this situation it never did, because that's not our culture. We really do try to help each other, and everybody's doors are open. We're always willing to have a conversation about whatever, and if we can help each other, we're always willing to jump in and help each other sincerely. If there really is a real problem you need help with, like, you'll never hear the word no or go away or you idiot, or anything like that. Not even anything close to that. But So now that I've prepped you with our wonderful culture here at KCG, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
So how does the KCG's culture, Kelly Construction Group's culture, affect the way that you lead today?
I think the biggest change working here, I would say, is the demeanor, which I think throughout the podcast episodes and a lot of our clientele can attest to that, is the demeanor of the individuals that do work here is different and it's positive.
Yeah.
And it's approachable.
Yeah,
Going
for
back
sure.
to the communication thing. I mean, construction has a reputation of having some hotheads in it, and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
That's not the case here, but it starts from the top down with the expectations of that.
Yeah.
And I can really appreciate that too.
Yeah.
And the clientele does, and subcontractors do as well. They're more willing to be honest with you when you're not going to freak out about whatever they got to approach you with.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I'll call it demeanor.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah,
kind of
that's great.
preach consistency, and I feel like we've been able to hit that, you know.
Sure. Awesome. All right. Well, let's talk about some more practical things, in the day to day. And I want to just touch on tech and tools a little bit. What are some of the tools and tech that we use here, and that you're able to use every day to make your job happen efficiently and productively, I guess, where you're actually getting stuff done.
Yeah. Everyone knows that knowledge is power. And here we use software called Red Team. And in that, the superintendents have an opportunity to develop what's called a daily report or a day log. Who's been there, what happened, what got delivered. At the end of every week, we submit that to the clients so that they're also informed about what's going on. And there is that deadline and expectation of the transparency, if you want to call it that, of what's really happening, and just delivering that every single week to them. That's the biggest thing that I think that we use when it comes to a system, is that regularity and expectation when it comes to reports. And that helps me too. It helps me stay informed.
Yeah, I know that when we were sitting around kind of prepping for this episode, you'd also mentioned too, like with submittals, I think it was, you mentioned, and RFIs. Tell us a little bit about how that system and the tech helps you with all that. Yeah,
so there's a very clear and laid out process when it comes to submittals on Red Team. There's notifications involved with it. It's not just a messy Microsoft folder that you're trying to manage or an
stuff
Excel
everything
file.
in.
Yeah, it's not that. It's very clear cut, and every single step in the process is logged, and you're notified if things start to lag. So it's almost impossible to fail. Yeah, is what it's trying to achieve. Yeah. So that's been a big help.
Yeah, I love the automation elements of Red Team, and I like how once a process has been executed, you can literally like hover your mouse over the result, and it'll give you a little note, like unless you know what the update is on it, which I think is really cool. But yeah, there's just a lot of neat features about Red Team. Have you seen it change, John, since you first started using Red Team?
Yeah, Red Team, they're really good about updating. They're constantly changing. They're constantly making changes to the software. They're really good about taking suggestions. We often say, hey, can we do this? And before you know it, they have that in the program. Yeah. The other good thing about Red Team is it also includes all the company financials. Not only does it do all the things that Pablo's talking about, scheduling, that kind of thing, it also, all the project financials are in that program also. So all your reports are accurate, all your invoicing is correct.
Yeah, that's an awesome feature.
So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool program.
It's a great management software for sure. So tell us this, Pablo, what is the most unexpected lesson that you've learned on the job in recent years, or since you've been here, say?
Yeah, well, definitely since I've been here, what stands out to me is that patience pays. When I say that, I'm really referring to the anticipation of issues when it does come to construction project. There's going to be problems. There's never a perfect project. Yeah. But the way that you approach that is what makes a difference between here versus other places. And having leadership that's willing to back you when it does come to patience also helps a lot.
That's nice.
Not everything's a fire. There's a solution to everything.
That's right.
That's been very good for sure.
Yeah. That's something that I came from a residential background. Everything happens really fast in residential. And I can remember, like, when I first started managing some jobs with John, and I would be like, this is a fire, man, we got to put this out. And you could just tell me, like, John would just lean back in his chair and be like, come on in and sit down here and just take 5. It's going to be all right, and it took me a minute to understand that it's a different approach, it's a different pace, and like you said, not everything has to be a big blow up. You just go through the motions, go through the steps, the processes, and there is a solution at the end of everything. So you just got to figure out what that solution is, and then move towards that. So, all right. So, what do you love most about working in construction?
I'm sure a lot of people give this answer, but it's just the practical results that you get from it.
Yeah.
Seeing your project done.
Yeah.
And seeing something that's there now. It's not a conceptual job. It's not theoretical. It's there.
Yeah.
And it affects people's lives every day. If it's a public project, it affects a lot of people. Yeah. It affects business and everyday life. I mean, the fact of the matter is we spend most of our time inside or under a structure of some type.
That's right.
So it plays a big role in our lives.
Yeah. The built environment thing is where we spend most of our time. Yeah. Most of our lives are inside built environments. So it's pretty cool that we get to have a hand in that.
It's definitely rewarding to just, to see that project finished and know that you had a big hand in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you weren't a project manager and you weren't doing this today, what do you think you'd be doing?
Commercial fisherman?
Yeah, on Dead Beach Crab.
Male?
Yeah.
Dead Beach Crab?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Singular?
That seems pretty fun, to be honest. But I've always had a gravitation towards carpentry. Okay. And that's always been a hobby of mine. I've done some light carpentry work, cabinets, trim, furniture, even framing before. Definitely that. So still in construction, but just in a different way. I think project management is a lot more satisfying to me because I like the mental challenge that it brings. Yeah. And just the understanding of the business operations side of things is very interesting to me too. It's not just cutting wood. You understand how things actually happen, how food gets put on the table.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I enjoy that too. The business side of it is like you said, it keeps your brain sharp and keeps you thinking in different ways. So, all right. So here's the bonus question on the interview. I'm asking everybody because it's kind of a topic that's out there in the public square all the time. But how do you think AI is going to affect the industry, or your job in particular, or just the industry in the future?
What I would really like to see is an assistance when it comes to monotonous tasks. And what comes to mind is, we already touched on the submittal review process. Mm-hmm. Having some sort of aid that can go through specifications in a matter of seconds and make sure that what I have in front of me, this material, meets the owner's expectations, stuff like that. Just, it's important work, but it's also time consuming. Yeah. And I can see a way that AI could help people save time in their everyday life, just handling stuff like that. So.
Yeah. I mean, as automated as we are now, and like we have plans and specs in the plan room and stuff, and we can go inside of our software to look at those. But even with that element, it's still a lot of time, scrolling through the countless pages online of a spec book, trying to find something in particular that you're looking for. So imagine just getting that done in a click of a mouse in a couple seconds, and it just pops up. It's pretty slick. So, all right. So it doesn't sound like you're scared of AI.
No, I don't think so. When it comes to business, ultimately, there is still a human component involved. Everyone understands the frustration of trying to call a utility provider, something like that, and it's automated and it's not understanding what you're trying to say. Even in an everyday circumstance like that, interaction is important. That's right. Much more so when it comes to a business's big expense like a construction project. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be something that is going to stick very well. This fear of replacing personnel, I think it's just going to make everyone's jobs that are there easier.
Yeah.
is my expectation.
Yeah, I kind of had the same
Yeah.
feeling about that. So you can't replace the human factor. I mean, especially in this industry, boots on the ground are always going to be required.
Sure.
And that ability to think critically, around different circumstances that pop up. So, all right, well, we appreciate you sitting with us, man. I know that it's the hot seat over there, so hopefully you didn't get burned.
You're natural over there.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you seem way too comfortable in that chair, Bob. Okay, we're done. You can go now. No, we really do appreciate you sitting in, man. That was awesome, and
I enjoyed it too. It was good.
we love getting feedback from all our team members. So eventually we'll get them all in the hot seat. But
Sure.
But yours is done now. You can take a deep breath and relax.
All right.
You did well. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts there, John?
No, just Pablo, man, appreciate you coming on. We enjoy having you on the team. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, hey, anyone listening out there, we appreciate you following the podcast here, episode 28. Please come back again, and if you're listening to the show and you're checking us out regularly and you like the info that you're getting here and it's encouraging or whatever, give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the more this information gets pushed out to other individuals that may find it interesting. So let's build a community around this commercial industry, and we can build a community online, and then that will help our community here locally in the greater Baton Rouge area. And anyways, we appreciate you checking in, and come back again and see us in a week or so, and we'll have another episode for you. Adios.
Adios.